The Occupy movement has traveled north of the border and spread across Canada. Today, demonstrators were supposed to hunker down in the heart of Toronto's financial district, but so far, no go. For more on that, I'm joined by Brian Dunstan. Brian.
Hey, Jackie. Yes, Occupy Toronto supposedly splintered into Occupy Bay Street today. And I say supposedly because it really wasn't much of an occupation of Bay Street. There were a few people down there that kind of marched around the financial district area in Toronto, but realistically, Jackie, it really wasn't a whole lot to write home about. We did catch up with some people who thought they may be inconvenienced by the potential for an aggressive rally, which really didn't petered out actually. And here's what the Bay Street types had to say.
We were just down there, and that was basically what it was planned to be. It wasn't supposed to be giant. We went out a contingent just to, make the rounds while we're down here.
More would be better.
Yeah,
more of us would be better, head back to the park, go get the rest of us, and hopefully do it again later.
This is a global movement, there's protests going on in 1,000 cities. I've never seen such kind of public support. I took a cab to the Occupy Park over there this morning, and the cab driver refused to take any money. We tried to give him our money, and he's like, no, I wish I could be there, he said, but I have to work every single day. I can't take one day off. And it was just so incredible to see such an outpouring of support from the public.
Well, obviously, Jackie, those weren't people who actually work on Bay Street. Those were some of the protesters that were down there. And as you can tell, that was a group of 4 people that we encountered walking away from the financial district to head back to St. James Park, which is just a few blocks east of the financial district. So, in reality, the occupation of Bay Street was much ado about nothing, as has been much the case with the Occupy protests throughout Canada. Now, over the weekend, we saw them start up, and in places like Vancouver, Montreal, Ottawa, even out east, and the case is this. It was a people coming together in various forms without a whole lot to say, and that was exactly what happened here today with Occupy Bay Street.
Brian, I'm glad to see you made it back safely through all those throngs of protesters.
Well, fighting through that group of 4 was tough, but I made it, Jackie.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Not a problem.
That's Brian Dunstan here in our Toronto newsroom, and you may have heard me chuckle there. Joe Warmington, I'm going to bring in Joe Warmington from the Toronto Sun. You may have heard me chuckle there with some of the comments. I love the fact, Joe, that the one girl there, she took a cab. What self-respecting protester takes a cab, especially when what you're supposedly protesting about is, times are tough. I'm sorry, I can't take this seriously. I can't take it seriously. To me, it's a joke.
Well, it is a joke, and it's kind of the joke's on us though, because the taxpayers are right now paying for things like porta potties and having the St. James Cemetery ruined by this kind of tent. And it was at one time a cemetery, as you know, and very historic one when they moved it out for the park. And here's the thing that I'm amazed at is that somehow we've got, what is it, 150 people, 200 people, and it's the lead story on your show. As Michael Corrin said, it's sometimes the media's got to move on from a story.
Yeah. It's the island of misfit toys is what Michael called it, and I love that.
And Chris Doucette called it unemployment palooza. I like that too. So. Yeah,
but you know what? In all fairness to this show, as well as the shows on this network, we're making it our top story on Newswire because of...
We're telling the true story.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's the CBC is talking about it being a world movement and all this kind of stuff. A movement. You want a movement? I'll take you down to the food court at the Eden Center, or you'll see people. There are more people there, and they're actually part of the thing. It's amazing that we've been caught. It's a Marxist group, and what they're doing is they're rebranding themselves in some sort of world movement that isn't there.
Yeah, listen, as I said, it's a joke. I said this earlier with Michael Corrin, I'll say it again. Some of the comments that were in, I believe it was Chris Doucette's story actually, or might have been Kevin Connor's. One guy, Peter, a drummer from London, Ontario, says, my personal message is anarchy and love, because I truly believe as long as we aren't hurting anyone or causing harm or loss to another person, we should be free to do as we please. We should be free to do as we please. So we should just have a society with no rules.
Well, let's do it. Let's take a taxi, you and I, down to that same spot. Let's have we love banks, we love democracy, we love freedom barbecue. We'll stay there for the next week. We'll block the street, no permit, and then we'll see a visit from Chief Blair, who, by the way, Toronto Police, I have to say, no, I know you're going to laugh.
Showing a lot of restraint this time.
Did a great job. We'll try to maybe pick on them tomorrow when we say get them the hell out of the park.
Right, but, then they'll go in there and they'll crack some heads, and then you'll be all over them again.
I'll be all for that because I'll have the right people this time, But that was what, you know, let's give them credit where it's due. They've done a good job here.
The Toronto Police, absolutely, yeah. They that was something else.
I saw it firsthand. I was there all weekend. I was there last night. I was there this morning, and I would report it if I thought differently. Professional, just the way they've handled it. And the G20 was a different animal. They could have used some of that, what they're doing here, there, and it would have diffused a lot of it.
Here's the thing I want to see is people actually knowing what the heck they're there for and what the heck they're protesting against. There's a purpose for the Occupy Wall Street. Might not agree with it, but I'm like, okay, you have a kind of a direction.
It's the Joint Chiefs of Grievance together, you know? It's all of it.
Now they're getting mad at each other because some people go, hey, my message isn't being heard loud enough. So now they're going to start taking each other out from the sounds of it.
Well, for sure. And the thing is, the best part is that they're all mad at Rob Ford. And yet Rob Ford's the only guy that I've heard in politics that wants to give them back more money, you know?
Yeah, he's the one that wants to stop the gravy train.
And I'd love, you know, for listeners across the country, please send me any of your thoughts, because I love hearing from people in other parts of the country that look at this and go, what is going on there? I know it's happening in other, you know, obviously in Vancouver and in Calgary. Here in Toronto, it's the same characters. Now, I can report to you a little bit of a scoop here, that one of the guys that was arrested in the hammer incident, there was someone that had a hammer in a bag.
Was he hammering in this peg for his tent?
Yeah, that's what his what he'll tell the legal aid lawyer that won't be paying for.
I was just pitching my tent, officer.
Anyway, he was involved as well in the G20. I know that comes as a shock. Yeah, Grant Jennings said, yeah, some scoop scrawler. But you know what? They're having fun. It's a camping week on our expense.
Yeah.
I'm still, if anyone wants to help me plan, we love democracy, you know, weekend.
I'll get into that. Who's cleaning up the park, by the way, when these people leave?
On the weekend, we had city workers go in there and do it, and they're getting time and a half. So, you know, it's a horrible society that we have.
Terrible, terrible. Those poor people having to go in there and actually work to get paid. That's terrible, Joe. It's no wonder that they're in there protesting. Whatever. What a joke. What's next up for you? You going back down there today?
I want your job. I want your show. I want your car. I want your life. I want your bank account. Don't want your bills.
No, and don't want to have to work for it. No. Just you want it handed to you.
Work.
Work. Occupy. Yeah, occupy, all right. Go occupy yourself with a real job. Yeah. Get paid for it. Joe Warmington.
I'm heading back. That's where I'm going. And I'm sure this will really help. I'm sure because, you know, they do have televisions, they have computers. I know it's a horrible corporate world, but they're moving this as we speak. In fact, the Sun News Network is the #1 watched network down there in unemployment palooza stock.
Look at that. All right. See, we have arrived. Joe Warmington, thank you.